parking lot. Just say, I'm a survivor. I survived hell. I survived loss. I survived brokenness. I survived a divorce. I survived all kind of stuff. I'm a survivor.
Let's go. Welcome. Yes, you got Pastor Ronnell on the line. Listen, folks, this is Kavan Turman, but you just tuned into New Covenant Christian Fellowship Midweek Empowerment Podcast. We are hyped. We are ready to go. Listen, I wish you all could be a fly on the wall. Me and this brother, man, our conversations are always explosive,
right?
But we were talking so much before. I hope we still got more to talk about going forward. Listen, I have the distinct honor to be with you all today. Again, Kavan Turman. No fancy titles with me, folks. I'm just a member, someone who loves the Lord, someone who is a great and faithful servant. That's all I am. Stepping in for Pastor Ray Teller, who is Bishop Ray Teller, who's over our house, New Covenant Christian Fellowship, and Pastor Donna Teller. So in his absence for the next 2 weeks, you got me. So I hope we still keep the numbers. I know I don't, I'm not in the vein and I don't get as hype, but I'm going to try to give you as much energy as possible because we have two explosive guests. The first is Pastor Ronnell, who is going to tell you more about himself. And the second is none other than Donna Teller, prophetess. I mean, it's listen, I got 2 weeks back to back of folks that honestly, to be honest, you and I, we spend a lot of time behind the scenes running these platforms. So this should be interesting. Welcome to the table.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's definitely going to be interesting, man. Be on this side of the camera this week, man. So it's definitely going to be interesting, man. Definitely interesting, man. For sure.
Listen, Pastor, I don't want to assume that everybody knows who you are. So can you just give us a little bit about just who you are and what position you serve with this ministry?
I'm Pastor Ronnell Waples. Right now I serve as the youth pastor as well as associate pastor here at New Covenant Christian Fellowship. You've been serving here. This overall, I just believe in being a servant of the Lord. As you know, my wife is Elder Kim. We've been married be 16 years this year in September. Then I got one son, Gavin. He's 13. So we both believe that working and serving in ministry, man, being faithful servants to the Lord, faithful servants to the kingdom first, amen, and also being faithful to the ministry here. That's what we believe in doing, man. We just believe in being who God called us to be at all times. So it's just me. I'm a country boy, man. I'm a quiet country boy from Southern Delaware, man, Dagsboro, Sussex County, as folks say, called slower lower. So
you gonna own that?
Huh?
You gonna own that today?
Of course, man. Hey, I'm a country boy at heart, man. You know what I mean? So I'm slow low. I'm a country boy, man. I'm down to earth kind of person, man. And honestly, I know I've told people before in Bible study. Overall, I'm a quiet person. I have a quiet demeanor. I'm an introvert. I can being up here talking and preaching and all this stuff, that's out of my comfort zone. But again, you just want to be a great servant to God, man, and being faithful to what God called us to be. And we just want to be faithful in the kingdom and do what God assigned us to do in this time in this season.
Listen, it's funny. I'm laughing because we have Evangelist Terry, who feels the need to put in the comments, Pastor Donna Teller, as if I don't know, right? But let me tell you a quick story. So when I first, I've known Pastor Donna Teller for quite some time. Notably, I was fresh out of college, really, in Delaware, And so we met at church, and I had since moved on to teaching her kids basically in Sunday service at the Resurrection Center. So when I got here, it was exciting, right? You know, I joined and I was excited, and something. And I think I just said, I said First Lady, right? That I was just like really excited about it. And then fast forward, I figured out, you know, because I was still trying to figure out the lay of the land.
Right.
Bishop and I were at the airport, and I was like, was I offensive? Because I didn't mean to, like, you know, titles and things are earned and are important. Right. He said, no, Doc, you know, isn't that? But, you know, she's Pastor Donna. Yeah, right? And so I'm laughing because this church never ceased to amaze me. My church family will correct you in 2.5 seconds, no matter where it is. How I'm playing. That's the man.
Hey, no doubt, man. That's truth, though. New Covenant is a real church, man. You know,
we don't get caught up in that.
They're real folk, man, and you know what I mean. And they will hold you. They will put you. You know, they will check you real nice, Doc.
In love, though.
Yeah,
in love.
Definitely, it's always in love, but they're gonna let you know nice and smooth. But
and it was nice and smooth how she just slid across it.
But you know,
let's get into it because we got a lot to discuss. I have a lot of questions. Some things I don't honestly know about you. And I'm really excited to be able to like share this platform with Bishop. I don't take it lightly because I realize that he doesn't take it lightly. And guess one false move, I'll be getting a text message. So let's move forward because we don't have a lot of time, and we definitely got to end on time. When did you know about ministry? When did you know that you were called?
Ah, man, that's a heavy question. You always knew when you're growing up, man. You always felt yourself being different. Being different than anything. I always been a person that my conscience always held me accountable to certain things. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, why not? If I do certain things, why there's always something in the pit of my stomach? Always, feel like, man, you know better than that. You know that what you're doing is not right. So you always felt that pull, all throughout life, man. Growing up, man, even when I was out there, hanging out and doing, partying, whatever. Always felt that there always a connection to the church. It's always a need, always a connection for me to the house of God. You know what I mean? So it was always a draw for me to be in church and be connected to church. And I thank God for His grace and mercy that extended His grace that allowed me to get back to and right relationship with Him. So, and I would say, it's always doing that. And I remember it was back, I think it was 2006 or 2008, I believe it was. I was at our former church, and we used to have Sunday school, right? And one of the elders of the church, she came to me, and I came to Sunday school. She's like, I was deacon or trustee. I was deacon then, trustee then. I was just brother Ronnell. Well, that's a brother. Right. And she like, how about you teach Sunday school next week? I was like, who, me? No. I flat out told her, nah, I'll get back to you. And I was like, man, in my head, like, man, she's tripping. I'm not getting up here teaching that because, I felt, I knew doing that, man, that was a great responsibility when you teaching God's people, and when you stand behind that sacred desk, no matter where you're teaching, preaching, or evangelizing, whatever, you have a great responsibility. Why? Because what you're giving people has to be right. And right. I was like, nah. So and I told my wife about it, and she was like, now, how are you going to tell her? How are you going to tell God no when He asks you to do something? And she convicted me, right? So I was like, all right, okay. So when I went back to church again, I was like, well, I said, if you ask me again, I'll do it. So she said, oh, yes. So, and man, that's how I started. I started out teaching Sunday school. And man, once I started teaching, it ignited something in me. I'm like, oh, wow. And it allowed me to dig deeper into the word and pull out nuggets and pull out different revelations in the word, man. So, and that's how really, man, it got, one of the things that really birthed in me after that point, what is the teaching aspect of it, was that aspect. Cause how I preach now, I'm not a hooper, I don't hoop, and I don't have Kai not hitting the chords when I'm I don't have to, but not
that that's important or anything,
it's not that important, but but a lot of times, man, that was the one thing that kind of intimidated me. Because I'm a laid back person,
right?
And I wasn't hoop, so that kind of intimidated me for a while. If I about preaching, because I ain't gonna hoop. Then if I don't hoop, I'm gonna hold the people's attention,
right.
So that kind of intimidated me for a while, man. And then And then honestly, when I came to New Covenant, man, and I seen how Bishop flows, that kind of gave me, relaxed me some. And kind of like, okay, I can work in this lane. I can work in this field. I can just teach. I don't have to hoop. I don't have to, have my towel on my head and on my shoulder and that. And I was like, okay, I can teach the word and still give people what they want and still feed the people. So that's how I started, man, teaching the word, man. And that's how I started, man.
I love this and I want to unpack it a little bit, but we have so much to talk about. So let's give a little more attention to this because I'm super intrigued about this whole notion of answering the call. I put down here, did you ever hang up or not want to pick up the phone? And all things considered, some play on words, obviously, but all things considered, you did hang up the phone or did kind of shun it a little bit at first until you felt convicted. But it's something that really sticks out to me about, someone who would say, are you going to say no to God? Right? Because I think oftentimes when you are gifted, oftentimes when God puts something in you, and again, we have a segment that's a part of this particular podcast that I call Not My Ministry, because it's an inside joke with us, right? That I always say that's not my ministry. But it took a lot for me to get to a place where I didn't allow other people to dictate who God called me to be, right? Because oftentimes you have to hear from God yourself. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that part. It's that part, sir, because there are a lot of gifted people, but some of us are called to street ministry, right? Some of us are called to I mean, the pulpit ain't it for everybody, right? And if we really want to dig deep, God, Jesus, the work that he did, you tell me where he was, right? You tell me where he spent most of his time. And so when it comes to you being called, before we move on, I want you to talk a little bit more about, being able to truly hear God's voice when it's all said and done.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's very important that you got to have. You got to have your ear has to be in tune to God. So you definitely got to be much prayer and spending time with God so that you were able to decipher his voice. Why? Because you got to realize the enemy is going to talk to you too. And the enemy is also going to put bugs in your ear. So the enemy is going to do. He's going to tell you all the things that's going to be contradicted to what God called you to be. So definitely answering the call, man, is not an easy thing. It's nothing should be rushed to. It's nothing to take lightly. You definitely have to be an amount of reverence to this. So definitely, man, when God called you to something, man, and you a lot of times you may not like, God, are you sure you calling me? Right. And a lot of times you think about, man, I've done too much stuff in my past. I've done too much dirt. I've done too much things that we think sometimes negates us from God using us. No, God's going to use whoever he can use. Yeah, now some of us is going to be in the streets, and some of us going to be evangelists. Not everybody's going to have the microphone. Not everybody's going to be behind the podium. So we got to understand too, we all are a walking ministry. So not because we each of us have a title, a pastor, apostle, bishop, this and that. We all are a ministry. So we all got to answer the call soon one day. So we all got to answer the call when God, when the word says, when God knocks on your heart, harden not your heart. So when God knocks and calls you to something, either be it, serving in ministry, serving this, as you say, working in outreach, working on the deacon board, being a deacon, being hospitality, being security, whatever aspect God have you working in the house or in the ministry, that's where God wants you to work. So it don't matter if there's no ministry, no big and no small, you know what I'm saying? So, it's all of us answering the call. It's all of us answering the call that God has on our heart. So it's like this, even when we out there doing stuff we're like, God, man, when is stuff going to turn? When is my life going to turn? That's, you like, and God's telling you, and you feel like, man, there's something pulling me to the church. There's something pulling me. There's something tugging me. There's something in the pits of my stomach that keeps telling me that, man, you know what? I really need to get my life together. Mm-hmm. I really need to stop all this mess I'm doing. I really need to get my life together with God. So that's the call that we all have. We all got a call that we got to answer, man.
Yeah, I love that. And guess what? There's going to be another part of this, probably the latter portion of our conversation today, that I want to talk about this identity crisis and this I really want to dig deeper in terms of what we are truly called to do as believers, and because there's a lot of mimicking of other people's anointings, and I want to just talk about it because I don't believe that that's what we're called to do, right? I think that we are called to have the spirit of Jesus, but the personality of ourselves, right? And so, however, and that's what makes us explosive in the ministry. But we're not there yet. Life at the death. I heard that you came pretty close to, or medically speaking, left and came back. Can you tell us more about what I could possibly mean by that?
Man. Well, it's definitely a miracle, man. I would say back in 2015, September 9th, 2015, I experienced a sudden cardiac arrest. Just a little bit of backstory. I'm gonna tell you this. It leads up to it. Actually, I preached my own testimony. Actually, yeah. And you're like, what do you mean? That Sunday I preached we was at the New York Senior Center. And,
wait, was this where the church was before?
Yeah, this where the church was before. That's when we joined. That's where the church was at the New York Senior Center. Okay, Mayor's Road in Newark. And before we moved here on Churchman Road. So that Sunday, and it take a little bit more backstory. I had hurt my back, right? I hurt my back. I had my sciatic nerve was flaring up. So that week my back had flared up again. So I was working from home, and I had a chiropractor appointment and everything. It was just I was working from home. So that Sunday I preached a message, right, called "God has changed His mind and extended your time." I preached that message on Sunday.
Come on, Doc.
Right. I preached that message on Sunday. God changed His mind and extended your time by Hezekiah.
And this is before anything happened.
Before anything happened. That was that Sunday. I preached that on Sunday. And preached that message. And I remember after that, man, my back, as soon as I finished, man, my back was done. I was like, my wife was driving, helped me to the car and all that. And then I worked. Then that Wednesday, Wednesday was Bible study. So I worked from home that Wednesday. And I remember I picked Gavin up for school, took Gavin to meet my wife. I had a chiropractor appointment, and I went and we came back for that, and we went to Bible study that night. I believe my wife said I taught Bible study, but I don't remember. After that point, that day is a blur. I don't remember nothing about that day. But so we went to Bible study, came back home, and Gavin went upstairs. Took a shower, get ready. Whatever. Wifey took her shower. I took my shower. I'm like, well, I'm going to get me some ice cream. And I sat in my chair, and from what my wife told me recollection, and then she just, and from her recollection to me, she heard me make a sound. Well, she called the name, and I didn't answer, and she heard me make a sound, and she heard me drop something, and she came out and she saw me slumped over in the chair, and she came out there and dragged me out of the chair and started CPR. And she saw me take my last breath. So she saw me take my last breath, and this was September 9th, 2015. I took my last breath. She pulled me out the chair, called 911 and started CPR, right? And we had our neighbor, it was our fire chief, lived in our development. He heard the call, and then we had a cop that lived in development. He heard the call. They all came to the house, and they worked on me. Wait, at
this point, you weren't breathing.
I was gone. And my wife tells it, I said, I don't remember it. So, as my wife would tell the story that, she saw me take my last breath, body fluids go. My body fluids released. And she was working on me CPR. And they, as they were working on me, as she was working on me, the paramedics came with the AIDs, and they shocked me and everything. They was working on me, and they got me, it was continuing to work on me. So, and I mean
that, bruh, that's not, I'm not the deep one. I'm not gonna get too deep, but bruh, all of that work. I mean, everybody laying hands,
right?
That's what kept you alive. One could argue if you were gone.
Yeah, and definitely, man. Yeah, definitely, man. I say this is that when I would say, like, Lord, when I was talking about a wife, I said, God, send me a strong woman, right? A strong mighty. Yeah. But that's what he blessed me with. Sure. He blessed me with, she was and blessed me with her, man, and she worked on me, man, and they worked on me and got me to the hospital, and I was in a coma for like, I think about a week, I think it was. I don't remember none. All I remember, man, is waking up in the hospital room, and I'm like, what happened? and I'm looking at her
No
like,
one stopped. Like your body fluids left.
yep,
You stopped breathing.
yep.
And all I keep hearing you say is they kept working on me.
They worked on me, and they worked on me, and they were, and I believe the time I got into the ambulance, they might have I can't remember if they had had a pulse or whatever at that point or whatever. I'm not quite sure, but I know when I got to the hospital, they put me in a medical induced coma for several days. And you know, and my wife would tell the story, and my brother would tell her that I did wake up, but I don't remember that part. All I remember is waking up in the room, man, and like a week later, I'm like, what happened? Why am I in here? And then I remember the cardiologist coming in there. And here, let me take it back a little further. That summer, I went to the cardiologist because I felt a little pain in my chest. Right. So I went to the cardiologist for a stress test. Everything came back clean. So when this happened, he walks in the room like, Doc, what happened, man?
Yeah, what happened?
He looked at me, he's like, I don't know. It's on. I can't explain. To this day, he cannot explain why it happened. So you know, and then like a week later, I got the ICD. Now I got an implant, ICD implant. Now that monitors my heart, that would shock me anytime it happens again. So yeah, man. So you know, and you know, so that was, you know, that was like that was my moment, man. You know, and I think back too, man. And some days I think back even before that, man. I remember having thoughts, and you know, you think about death. And honestly, I thought with all the thoughts that I was having, I thought God was preparing me for something else that was going to happen, not knowing that it was me, that, you know, that I was going to go through this. And man, so yeah, I preached my own testimony, man. God changed his mind, extended my time. So that I'm thankful and grateful. So another ironic thing is that I remember a couple years ago, a cop came to the house for something. And he's like, you know, like several years ago, man, I can't remember, with one of the houses, it was a guy who had a heart attack. I don't know where it was. And I started smiling like, man, that was me. He's like, you kidding? I like, nah, that was me. He like, man, you was gone, but we kept working on you. He said, man, you know, man, so yeah. So
that's going to be the next sermon.
Huh?
That's going to be the next sermon. Something, I promise you, they kept working on me. I'm telling you, man, listen.
I'll leave that for you, man.
No, that's not my ministry. But listen, listen, I'm telling you, man, that is a remarkable story. And when I tell you, you know, I used to, you know, you got a smile, brother, that most people would kill for, right? But one thing I didn't understand was that why the heck does this man smile through everything? You could be talking about something real serious, and you're like, yeah, because you know we can't come to church.
Man, you know what, man? It put that experience, man, put life in perspective, man.
Absolutely,
it definitely did, man. And now, you know, even after that, man, I went to a point of, all right, God, why? First, I went to God, why? Why me? And then almost like, God, why did I survive? You know what I'm saying? You know, because now once that happened, now I see all the other different stories of people that have sudden cardiac arrest that do pass away. Then I'm thinking like, God, why did I survive? Why me? And then I went through that period, man, you know, where in your mind, man, you processing and processing that in your mind, like, man, God, why did you keep me? Why did you allow me to still be here? And, you know, and it's also, you know, God is pretty much, you know, as they say, you know, for you to be a testimony for someone, a living testimony, and allow to someone that, you know what, don't take life for granted. Cause at that point now, I realize, man, life can be gone in a second. You know, life can be over in a minute. So now you got to think, now I can't get caught up in so much on the little stuff. So now I got to be sure that the way I live my life is purposeful. That when I live my life now, there's a meaning and a reason behind it. So yeah, even through the tough times that I'm going through, it's going to be all right. You know, as long as God give me another day, it's going to be all right. As long as God give me an opportunity to fight through this, it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? So now, you know, it's the little things now. Spending time with the family. Spending time with family, that's cherishing the little moments with. Now I can get to see Gavin growing up no more. You know what I mean? And my wife, you know, spending more time with my wife. That she's not a widow. You know, at a young age. And Gavin, his dad is still here, still able to impart in him, man. So, man, you know, I'm thankful,
bro, because listen, who was going to drive if you weren't here and when it snows? You know what I mean? Yeah. Come on, who's going to drive when it snows? God knew what he was doing, man, because that would have been a lot on all of us. You know what I mean? Brother, man, you are special. You are your soul, man, is something special. It's funny, you know, I consider it to be an honor and a privilege to even be around Bishop and to be around him and Pastor Donna. And so, but you know what I pulled you to the side and said to you when I first joined.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I did, that's not something I say to a lot of people, man. So I really, you already know. You know how I feel about you and your family.
Yeah, man, and we feel the same about you and your wife, man, your family, man. We definitely know that we gotta link up, man. We gotta connect and like that, man. And spend time when it permits that we can make it happen.
We're gonna make that a priority. Listen, I want to move to male development, and we don't have a lot of time before we go to commercial. But one of the things I wanted to ask, you know, assuming that most men need 3 things: counseling, coaching, and community, right? We need a lot more, but let's just say we could put them in those 3 buckets. What are ways that you think NCCF could check all 3 boxes? And you and I, for those who don't know, we have the pleasure of serving in ministry together over the men's ministry. And so I think that's a huge honor. And I think we have some dope brothers in the ministry. But really, I want you to start thinking about, you know, these 3 areas and how our ministry can check all 3 boxes. Now we're relatively small, but we're mighty, right? And we're growing week by week. And so these are some of the things that you and I think about often. So I wanted you to shed some light on it.
Yeah, man. As men as a whole, man, we always, you know, I think men, we always going to need that, you know, need that coaching. And I think, first of all, I think we think about community. I think for brothers, for men, I think when we show ourselves to being authentic, we show ourselves being relatable, and especially with men, I think we show ourselves being relatable. We will draw those tough exterior guys in, the guys that are looking from a distance, like, man, I don't know about that, man, because I done seen so much stuff. Because, you know, and that's truth be told, you know, there's so much going around in the world and inside of that church and outside of the church. And sometimes they turns a lot of the brothers off. You know what I mean? A lot of brothers don't want to do a bunch of drama, a whole bunch of this, he say, and all this crazy stuff. They want real authentic brothers. You know, they want real authentic brothers that they can be real and be themselves around. They can see themselves in someone, right? Yep. So I think that's what we can do as a ministry that we do as a whole. And you look at Bishop, man. Bishop, he preaches in Adidas, Tim's, you know, and T-shirts, hoodies. Exactly. You know, he's, you know, very soon you're going to see him in a suit, shirt and tie.
When you do, you know that he got something to do right at the church.
Right. Exactly. It's a special occasion, and you see him suited up, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and, you know, and so I think for a lot of guys, if they see that, man, they can. For some, can relate to it. Some may still like the traditional look with the robe and all that. So, but either way, I think we got to be relatable.
Got to be relatable.
We got to be relatable. The guy like, you know what, brother, I struggle just like you struggle. Even though I may be behind this pulpit and this serving in ministry, I got issues just like you got issues. So
no, I love that. And what I will say is, the first time I visited, I'll never forget what my entire family came suited and booted. Right, I had a bow tie on it, everything. Like I was like to the nines. And believe it or not, I think you all played a pivotal part in my journey, because I'm churched. I'm overly churched in some aspects. I've been in church all my life, and this experience gave me the permission to be me. We'll come right back.
I got some people in this parking lot that say I'm a survivor. I survived hell. I survived loss. I survived brokenness. I survived a divorce. I survived all kind of stuff. I'm a survivor.
Let's go. We back like we never
Let's go. Let's go.
Because we never left. We were just kind of like in the green room. Von Terman, I had the pleasure of hosting NCCF's podcast this week and next week with Pastor Donna Teller. So I'm excited. Today, to reset the room, if you're just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please share the video. We are sitting with none other than New Covenant Christian Fellowship's own Pastor Ronnell Waples. And I'm excited. We've talked about a lot, but we have a lot more to talk about. But currently we're on male development. If you look at the call to action question down below, we're talking about male development, but the call to action is, if this were a call to action right now, right? And you have a captive audience, let's say in this case, 20 people looking, what would you say we would need from these brothers? What are we looking for?
I mean, I think we just need their presence, man. We just need them we need their presence in the house, man. And no matter this, just be in the house, man, and just come and be a part. Just be a part of the fellowship, be part of the mix. Just come and just come be a part. And we need you just to come, not necessarily where you got to come and do, but just come and get the word. Just come and you're not saying that you got to have everything right there, but just come to the house. Just come and get what you need from God, because we all got stuff that we're dealing with, man, as men. One of the things as men, man, we deal with is our pride. And that's the one pride. If, as a man, we're not going to ask for help as a man most times. And a lot of times we'll carry that burden, and we have that burden and become silent frustrations, right? We have that silent frustration where we have that pent up ball of energy and frustration in us, and and then we release it in all the wrong forms, right? But it's all a matter of what God is calling you to say, you know what, come and let me heal where you hurt. You know what I'm saying? We feel like, as men, sometimes we feel like, I don't want to show that I'm vulnerable. I don't want to show that I'm hurting on the inside because I don't want to seem like I'm weak. But now, you know what I'm saying? If you're weak, he is strong. So God said he will make you, he'll hold you. He'll hold you up, Lord God. He'll hold you. So therefore, no matter where we struggling with, where we battling with, come on, come. Let's come and be amongst the fellas. Come and be amongst the fellowship that we can, where iron sharpen irons, right? Not saying that you got to come in and do a bunch of stuff, but let's come and be amongst the brothers. Let's come and get what you need, get your spirit fed, right? To heal those wounds that we've been carrying for so long, right? Because a lot of times as men, we don't talk to a lot of people.
That's very true. We suffer in silence too.
Right, exactly. And it becomes silent frustration, and then you wonder why you blow up at the littlest things. You blow up because you know what? Because somebody left the cap on the counter. You blow a gasket, not because of the cap is on the counter, but because of everything else you holding in. You're holding in everything in that you're trying to be Superman. That you really got kryptonite that's really killing you on the inside. And you fighting through things, and you fighting through adversity, you fighting through trouble, you fighting through the burdens in the frustrations in your mind, the thoughts in your mind to do things that you shouldn't do.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like trust me, I do this work with you, so I could probably answer some of these questions, right? But do you feel like it's easier? Do you think that women in ministry, let's just throw it out there. Would you agree with the statement that there are more women in ministry than men?
I agree. There are more women in church, yes, than men.
Okay. Yeah. And so why do you think that there's a struggle when it comes to not only getting brothers, albeit recruiting brothers for church, just church? Because what I hear you saying, this is me actively listening. I heard that in marriage counseling. Right? What I hear you saying is, just show up.
Yep.
Right?
That's it.
There's no pressure. Just show up.
That's
it. So one, why do you think that there's a struggle, for brothers just to show up? And two, why is it even more of a struggle to get brothers to actually be actively involved?
I think to show up, I think a lot of it goes to what they see goes on in churches. I think they see one thing I realized, I'm going to say this, one thing that I realized early on in ministry, is that everybody's relationship has to be personal, right? That I can't base my relationship with God based off what Brother Kevon does, right? Because if I do, I'm gonna be messed up, right? You know what I'm saying? So you're not saying that you do any dirt, but I'm just saying, but if I know that Kevon does something like, oh man, Kevon did that, I can't believe it, because I'm trying to put you on pedestal, so I can't do that. So that's one thing we got to get rid of. We can't hold certain people to certain things. You got to realize that they're human. And then a lot of times we seen a lot of stuff, a lot of pastors, and a lot of people in church have done some dirt, done some crazy stuff. And as men, we see that. And you're like, man, you see that, and you kind of put everybody in that one big group as men. You know, man, they're doing more dirt than I'm doing in the streets. So what? You know what I mean? So, but that sometimes that holds some men back. And also is that, and also as far as men, also it's feeling vulnerable. Come in like, okay, I'm going to come in and feel like I want to be a part of something. Feeling like there's, don't feel like we're going to try to take advantage of something, but it's coming to be a part of it. Right. You know, and also, and two, if they see, and I think also for me, and I believe that if they can see themselves in the ministry, they'll come. Right. You know, if they can relate to the people they break to the pastor and everybody in the ministry, other brothers, that's going to be a drawing too. Like, yeah, man, I like that. I like to be around that brother. I can be around that brother, and I can come and fellowship with them. So I think too, we just got to keep being relatable and keep encouraging brothers, man, let's come on out. Come hang with us. Come fellowship with us. You know what I mean? And come in, and I know you still may have your hang-ups. And see that we got to realize too, we all still gonna have hang-ups. So don't allow your hang-up to hold you back, right? Don't allow your hang-up to hold you, because you keep coming sooner or later, your hang-up's you're gonna get rid of some of those hang-ups. So don't allow your because you might still have a beer every now and then. Still keep coming to church. And you keep coming, that taste for that beer is going to slowly move. The taste for the cigarette is going to God's going to slowly take that away. He's going to slowly deliver you from that. So therefore, so don't allow and the enemy, what enemy will do, he'll say, you know what, what you're doing too much dirt for you to come to church. So I want you to stay out here and don't go to church today. Why? Because they're going to be judging. And so many times, some people in church do judge, but we can't be judgmental. We got to meet brothers where they at.
Listen, Doc, I agree with you. You know, Jesus saw a relationship with God as something worked out in community, right? And so that affected every area of life and was lived out publicly. And we alluded to that earlier in our conversation. And so this is such a great topic for me, because I'm called to aiding in the growth and development of men. Right. And so that calling is strong. And I love the work that we do when it comes to that. And so I think you already answered the question, in terms of like reaching men who will never see or never come face to face with New Covenant Christian Fellowship. And I think that is, if we're paying attention to how we pivoted in light of the pandemic, we have to pick up the lessons learned, right? Right. And so the pandemic taught us something very valuable, that, our ministry is not just behind the four walls of NCCF. And we noticed that because some folks will log on to our live and say, hey, we're here from Kenya. And so that's when you're doing God's work. So I really appreciate your comment. It's a struggle. It's a struggle for real. And, to the previous comment that was on the screen, we can't be judgmental. We're not that church at all. Yeah,
and the thing too, neither of us have arrived anywhere yet. You know what I'm saying? Paul said, we had not attained. We all striving to meet that for the high mark. We all striving to be perfect. We not perfect people. You know what I'm saying? And then too, we gotta realize too, look, I'm gonna have issues, I'm gonna have a bad day, I'm gonna make mistakes. But don't judge me by my mistakes. But know that don't judge me by the mistakes. But only just know who I am. Judge me by my spirit, right? By the fruit that I bear. So that and as that we continue got to be not judgmental with people, man. Be open to brothers, man, for all facets, man. Like you said something in your question a while ago. Some brothers may never come to NCCF, no matter what church they go to.
Right.
They go to church, as long as they find their relationship with God. And one thing that the motto of the church here, or New Covenant, is move from religion to relationship. It's not, we're not, one thing here, we're not, it's about building your relationship. And every time you want a strong relationship with anything, you got to spend time with it. So that's one thing that we try to encourage the brothers is, man, hey, build your relationship with God. No matter however you build your relationship, build your relationship with God. That's going to get strong. That's what's going to get you through, right? That's what's going to get you through. That's what's going to get you through the tough times. That's what's going to get you through the time where you feel like I want to quit. That's what's going to get you through the time where you feel like nobody understands what I'm going through. And I got all these frustrations, all these pent up energies, all these things that I don't understand why it's happening, but your relationship with God is what it is. And that's the thing
that's real good. That's real good. I think, here's the thing. I think that to bring the male development piece to the close is we do that work, right? In a meaningful way. We go bowling. We're planning on going to the gun range and fishing, but we do fire pits. We actually do the work to fellowship, not just in one way, right? In multiple ways. So if your problem is coming on a Sunday morning, or anything to that nature, then that's a non-issue, because we do a lot of things that are outside of the church. And, one could argue the church is with us, right? So wherever we are, so is the church. Exactly. So we have, I wanted to talk more about friendship. We don't have a lot of time left, but as a pastor, does friendship hit differently in terms of like who you allow to share intimate spaces with you? These are like questions, I personally have a lot of pastor friends, so I've asked these questions. And so I'm going somewhere with this, and I just really I'm curious, like, what are your thought process? Like, what are the conversations you're having in your head when it comes to friendship, and how open or available you are to people who don't share the same ministry, nor do they share the aspirations? Talk to me.
And I cherish friendships, man. Friendships are I love friendships, man. I think friendships are kind of thing that keep you even keeled. You got to have those. You got to have ability to be yourself. I remember when Bishop taught, I think last year before the pandemic, he said you got to have 4 type of friends in your life. You got to have someone that you can be yourself around, a prophetic one, intercessor, and someone that I think someone you can be real with. So you gotta have those different facets. So, at friendships, man, yeah, I got friends. So I joke with my wife sometimes, like, yeah, we are our own best friends, but we do have friends, man. We do have friends that I call friends. I got some brothers, man, that some, in ministry, some that are not in ministry. And there's some that, that I can be myself around, that know me as without the title. You know what I mean?
Right,
and
right.
Me is just as Ronnell, or that, like, my boys, some of my boys from college call me Ron. You know what I mean? So, they know me as that. You know what I mean? So they know me as that. So it's funny, like 2 of my friends, man, I did their wedding. You know what I'm saying? So that was a great honor for me. Why? Because they respect me that much. They're like, man, you know what, man? Okay, will you, perform my wedding for me? So that was a great honor.
That is an honor.
Yeah, and then one of my best friends, man, one of my friends rather, I did a baptism christening for his baby, for his daughter. So those kind of things, man, that are good. And them, they don't talk about them. They don't even go to church, but yet they're still my friends. You know what I mean? Where I still can hang with them and crack jokes and laugh and have a good time. So friendships are critical. But still, you still got to guard your space. You still got to be careful about who you let into your space, right? Because you can't allow everybody into your space, right? Because you can't everybody in that would try to contaminate, because everybody might have a different reason try to get close to you. So you got to guard your anointing. You got to guard your spirit. You got to be discerned. You got to have a spirit discerned about who you allow into the space. And two, and as in certain roles, especially in this role, you can't let everybody know everything, right? You know what I mean? So, I can't say until, like, man, if I can't tell Brother Joe, man, I got all these issues. He look like, Pastor, you dealing with that, man? And then it's going to take him. He's going to look at things totally different now. Like, oh man, I ain't going to church, because he's struggling the same thing I'm struggling with. So, but you got to be careful. But one of the things that I learned is that, man, that you give brothers different nuggets, give brothers things that help them, that share some things with them that will encourage them. as well. You know, it's like, you know what, bro, you know, I've been there. Not that I got to tell you my whole story, but here, let me encourage you to get you over that. So, man, so friendship is definitely important, but you definitely got to guard who's in your inner space. Because
that's I love that. Your wife says you have to guard the anointing, and you know, I smile at that because I think our wives, even when we don't see it,
oh yes, man,
they do.
Yeah, my wife is the eagle-eyed prophet, man. So, but yeah, I mean, man, my wife has a great discernment, man, and
she said, "Hey, Ron, you see what I did there? She cool with me though. She cool with me. She think I'm good people."
But yeah, man, my wife she has a great sense of discernment, man, and she'll definitely like, nah,
we're not doing that.
She'll check me on some stuff, hold me accountable, like, I don't think that's gonna be right. And we kind of do the same thing back and forth. So we definitely you know, sharpen each other iron, man. We definitely guard each other's back, man. But you know, overall as friendships, man, friendships are key, man. You got to have friendships, man, and this
we need them. We need them,
especially in this walk, man. You got to have friendships. You got to be able to release and let your hair down and be yourself, because you can't walk around and quote scriptures 24/7, because nobody gonna want to talk to you.
Nobody's gonna talk to you. You know, It's funny. We're gonna close out soon, and I'm gonna get your perspective on something. I talked to you about my experience. We were talking a lot, you know, before this,
right?
Which you know, I wish we could share with everybody, but you know, I think a part of friendship and becoming, because you know, you and I are connected and we're growing and we're getting to know each other more and more. Are some of those conversations that aren't really for anybody else, right? But we did talk about friendship a lot, man, and I opened up to you about something that was really special to me. And yeah, man, it you know, makes me smile because it's just really dope, right? And so I'm excited about it. So we won't get into that because that's a whole nother conversation. I did go down south, man, to Dallas, and
that's awesome,
you know, was introduced to Pastor Tim Ross, right?
Right.
And who talked about friendship, and he said that he doesn't need friends to be on his level; he needed friends to be in his life. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, and some of that you alluded to, but I just think it's such a powerful thing to say, because at the end of the day, whoever you are, at times I think, you know, something happened, right? Then I'll let you address this, but when I got home, the enemy was waiting for me, right? And it was something that happened, but I turned to my wife and I said, "This makes sense. This makes so much sense, because I am so close to God in this moment, right? I'm so close to God in this moment that, you know what? I'm not even tripping. This makes sense. Like I expected him to come knocking at the door. This makes so much sense. And so I can't imagine having the title, being who you are, constantly pouring and preaching and being that close and that connected, you know, that you I mean, sometimes you just really just need somebody that's going to listen. You don't really need the other pastor or the other preacher all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that you know, being around Bishop, man, that he really opened my eyes to, that at that level, especially on the level that he's on, and as whatever, you need somebody at that level where you can open up to, and you guys can share the same experiences, right? So yeah, it's like, you know, have some pastor friends that's on my level that we can share some same kind of. So if I know another associate pastor, that we can say the same kind of insight. It's funny. I remember I used to go to the barbershop, Apostle Barber, and his associate pastor overseer is Pastor Walt, and me and him used to laugh and share stories of how Apostle Barber and Bishop were the same, where they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you call your last minute. Are you going to preach today, or you going to do that?" And we would laugh because that's an experience that we share alike, right? So yeah, you definitely need some friends that's on that level that you are, right? So that's good to have those that you can share experiences, that they can encourage you, and you can like, man, how did you maneuver through this? How did you handle this situation? So they can give you different insights, right? But then also you definitely need friends that you can be yourself around, where I can take off the title. I don't have to be Pastor Ronnell right now. I can just be me. I can laugh and crack jokes. We can watch a game. We can crack jokes at each other and be that and have that outlet. So friends is definitely, you definitely need friends in your life, man. You definitely need friends in your life that you can just go and let's get away for a minute. And you know what? I just want to hang with the fellas. I just need some testosterone around me. We just want to laugh at old things, you know, crack it, laugh at jokes like, man, what was I thinking doing such and such back then? You know, you laugh at the old stories, laugh at those moments. So yeah, you definitely need friends in your life, man. And also you need people on your level that you can share experiences with, that you can talk to, that was tell you know what, man, they can encourage you, that they may have been through something that you're going through already, So you definitely need friends on your level as well.
Okay, Ron, I will.
Now listen,
that was the first time. I had to. You shouldn't have told me that.
But
I watched the game with you. I watched the game with you. All right, it's cool.
Man, it's all good, man. I'm good. I know you'll be like eating popcorn on you watching Texas.
But it's not about me. But this is part of.
But we watching Big Brother, you all into it. But I might be on my phone.
All in, man.
I might be on my phone then. I might be like,
no, you gonna get into it because I'm gonna put you on, just like you gotta put me on. Listen, that is what friendship is about, Ron. No, Pastor, listen, Pastor, I really appreciate you, man. This was awesome for me because, believe it or not, I didn't know that story. I didn't know you left us and came back, and so I appreciate you sharing it. This is the part, we talked about friendship. We talked about, ministry and answering the call and what that looks like. We talked about life after death. That was pretty serious, man. But they kept working on you, man. And I think that, if we don't leave with another word, that's a word. They kept working on me.
Hey,
that favor, that grace.
Yeah, man.
Write that down. 3 points. 3 points. I'm putting you on. I gave you the title, and I can even give you the 3 points.
All right.
You got to make that happen. All right.
Down, down the tagging you it, man. I'm like tag team, they'll like call you up there and let you finish it out.
Moving on. This is the part where, do you have any questions for me, good brother, before we close?
Huh?
Do you have any questions for me before we close?
Man, I guess not really. I mean, what has been your experiences, man? That thus far being part of this ministry, what has been your experience? Let me say this. It's funny when you said about the suit and tie. I remember when I first joined here, right? I was still wearing my suits, Doc. I was wearing a suit. I was shirt and tied up, man. And slowly I changed, bro. And I ain't wore a suit in a minute. So
I wore a sweatsuit to church. And ain't nobody judge me. I was like, man, y'all shouldn't have did this. Because honestly, listen, I'm still praising God, and this answers your question. I'm still worshiping. I'm still growing. There are still some traditions that, it's not about me unlearning that, but it's learning how we do things differently at our church and embracing that.
I got a question. So as a ministry, what can we do? What do you think we can do better, or what do you think we can do differently to continue? And you asked me that as being in leadership here. So what kind of thing did you think that we can do differently, do better as a ministry as a whole? What you think?
I think it's a blessing and a curse, for lack of a better term, to be an intimate, smaller church. Right. I think that it's because we're so small and people are tight and people know each other. And I think, for an outsider looking in, although we're very intentional with touch points and Bishop does this thing where someone joins, he'll look around and say, all right, I need 2 brothers that's going to hold them accountable. That's very intentional. I think we need to do more of it. Right. I think, I know my wife and one of the things that my wife and I have very different personalities. I live out loud. I share a lot. Not that I share a lot on Facebook, but I share a lot, right?
Bro, I think you're in a doghouse more on Facebook than anybody, dog.
All the time. And I'm grateful to oblige. But what I will say is that we're very different. She's very private. Right. So there are things that work for families, but I think we should probably do more of an individualized, approach, where, in our non-traditional focus, as well as being small, I would hate for us to miss any opportunities for just touching people, and meeting them where they are. I think one of the things for my wife, I love the fact that the women of purpose, right? She's locked in now, right? So Yeah. At one point I was like, yeah, so we doing this men's thing. How things going over there?
Right.
Like, and she's like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, And we have an awesome woman of God, Pastor Ronnell, who's like, look, don't let me put my claws in you. And so that level of attention, although we do it, I think we can do it more because there are folks that just really need more of an intimate embrace and more individual approach. And so that's and so I say that to say the way our ministry is evolving, that's not just the work of Bishop. That's not just the work of Pastor. That's the work of us, right? We all had to do that work and be very intentional. You know, the one thing I love about us, you and I, is we'll send each other a message and say, all right, I checked on so-and-so, 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 and so-and-so. And I say, all right, well, I had so-and-so, 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 and so-and-so. That's intentionality, right? And so so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so don't necessarily know that we're very intentional about it. They feel it, of course, but it's literally something that we take pride in. Like, look, haven't heard from so-and-so. Have you, is everything good? I actually talked to him yesterday. He's good. I got him locked in. And so I think that level of work, and I can't really speak for how the women do things. I know when they meet up, it's like they meet up because I'm hearing it.
Yeah, they phenomenal, man. And we got some, Pastor D is phenomenal, and Evangelist Terry and Sister Tashima and the whole every all the women at NCF is phenomenal, man. They're powerful, so they're definitely doing some phenomenal things. So they definitely when they get together, man, it's they on there, pouring each other big time. So so definitely, I agree with you. We definitely continue to be intentional, and that's one thing that we do as a whole. That's one thing that Bishop stressed from the top down is being intentional. Being accountability is his staple point there. So that's the big thing where his thing that he pushed down, especially from the leadership all the way down to that he stressed on us that we got to relay down is, man, to be intentional. Especially, with everything that we do, with everybody that we come in contact, be intentional.
I think our work, heavy is the head that wears the crown, man. And I appreciate any platform that, we're able to serve any capacity. But I will say that the work of the men's ministry, believe it or not, could set the tone for a lot of other things. And so I take it very seriously.
I agree.
And I just love doing the work. So let's continue to do the work.
Amen, bro.
I appreciate you, good brother. I hope you enjoyed your time. I definitely enjoyed the pre as well as this conversation. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, man. I definitely enjoyed it, man. I was nervous, to be honest, but
you smiled through it.
But hey, man, I pushed through it, man. It's like, okay, God, man, like now I'm at a point now, man, where especially with everything that I went through, I'm always going, whatever God asked me to do, man, I'm going to do it. So, I'm not going to say, it's like, if the man of God asked me, if Bishop asked me or Pastor Down asked me to do anything, I'm going to say yes. No matter how uncomfortable it's going to make me, I'm going to say yes. Why? Because God gave me another chance. You know what I mean? And so for me saying no to them is me saying no to God, and I'm not going to do that. So for those that's on tonight, on the lead that's with you, don't say by answering the call. We all got the call. We all got a call to answer. And think about your answer when you get the call. Don't take it for granted, and don't feel because it make you uncomfortable, because it make you uneasy. They feel like I can't do it. Yes, you can. You can do it because God's not going to call you anything. He's not going to put you in anything before that he know you can't handle. So I'm going to say this: when Bishop or Pastor D come and ask you something, God already put them on your mind to ask you. So it's not like they pull it out the air and it's like, let me get them just to get them. Nah, God laid your name on their heart. So when they come to you and ask you to do something, just say yes and watch how God move on your behalf. That's it.
You heard it here, folks. Just say yes. And remember, God did it for him. God can do it for you. He can keep working on you. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Again, this was NCCF's podcast under the leadership of Bishop Ray Taylor and Pastor Donna Taylor, who are over us. They cover us. In their absence, in their presence, the whole nine, they cover us. We pray over their lives, and we appreciate this platform. Next week, make sure that you tune in to this podcast,
it's going to be
other exclusive. Pastor Donna Teller is going to be exclusive. We have to say, in order to support us, pour into our food pantry. We have a Project 5,000 where Bishop had a vision where we will feed 5,000 families. And so if you want to help us out, please do so by sending us either money through Cash App or mailing us or reaching out to us on any of the platforms. The information is below. We appreciate your time today, and we are out.
Do I got some people in this parking lot that say I'm a survivor? I survived hell. I survived loss. I survived brokenness. I survived a divorce. I survived all kind of stuff. I'm a survivor.